Canaanite mother goddess was called Asherah, the Queen of Heaven. This concept of the Queen of Heaven, the goddess, transcends this singular culture, this universal goddess force. She was the source of all that is. More than just a divine consort, she was the substance out of which all is created. The star goddess, Stardust herself. There are probably no ancient cultures that didn't have some aspect of this goddess, this womb of creation. In ancient Egypt, she was Nuit or Nut, Astarte in the Near Eastern cultures, Asherah in Greek. There's so many different versions of this idea of this goddess of all that is, the goddess of substance, the divine mother, the great goddess. And this concept even finds itself in Christianity, which is notorious for being patriarchal. The Holy Spirit is the same concept, but has been taken into a genderless role. She's still there. She can't go away completely, no matter how hard they try. They try to get rid of the goddess, but they can't quite do it. Within the practice of magic, the goddess is frequently viewed as the primordial substance out of which all existence originates. In angelic magic and the Pauline arts, we call this substance, the spiritual substance, Shekinah. It is this luminous essence that bridges the celestial spheres and the earthly plane. The ancient great mystics taught that we must always commune with this force. All magic involves invoking this force in some form or another. Through this substance, all manifestation occurs. All invocation involves invoking Shekinah. There is no way to manifest something except for through Shekinah. Shekinah is the substance that underlies everything. If you just take a moment and clear your mind, lift your inner state for just a moment to this idea of this spiritual substance, this Shekinah. Many of us see it as glittering fairy dust, magic dust, this luminous substance, always present and underlies everything. And the more silent and still you can allow your mind to be, the more apparent the substance can become to you. It's important that we always invoke with the realization that this substance is there, present now, whether you're invoking angels or even your higher self. The idea of invocation is to become more aware of that which already is present. But without that awareness, it's impossible for us to have effective magic. All the gifts of the celestial realms exist within the divine mind. We invoke with the realization that your desire is already answered. Your call is already answered. And the ancient wisdom is very clear. You must believe and understand that you have already received, and then you shall receive. All the gifts of the celestial realms already exist within the divine mind. You merely need to pull them into your conscious mind in order to activate them. And the moment you form a thought, the great mind responds. And this is the mystery of Shekinah. The Shekinah responds to our thought. And any thought that we impress upon this divine substance manifests. We know that this luminous essence, Shekinah, the goddess, is omnipresent, always here. And we just need to realize that in order to take hold of it in our minds. You can use an affirmation. The essence of my being is Shekinah. This luminous spirit substance penetrates and permeates my soul, my body, and my mind. There is no lack anywhere. When you understand that, you understand how it is possible that the great mages of old were able to create wonders seemingly out of nowhere and out of nothing. They understood this substance was ever present. And they merely had to pull that understanding into their conscious mind and focus their thought on it to create their desires. You should never accept anything that anybody says blindly. You should always come to your own realization and own understanding. Just because I tell you something, I don't expect you to believe it. But it is important that you open your mind to holding on to a concept and considering the possibility of it in order for you to gain understanding. And then you can either accept or reject it based upon that understanding. This is the foundation of you developing your own magical gnosis. And a true occult path requires deep study, not only of theory, but of inner knowledge, persistent and clear understanding and questioning. You know that you've assimilated a truth by your ability to demonstrate it in your life. When you demonstrate a spiritual law in your life, it's clear that you understand it. Your understanding of a spiritual or magical law will show itself to you through demonstration. True magic lies in the ability to demonstrate a truth, to be able to demonstrate magical law in your own experience. Results are your proof. An initiate is someone that can demonstrate magical law more than just talk about magical law. The great adepts seemed to perform miracles. One well-known example is Jesus multiplying bread and fish. But even he, the bulk of the crowds that were interested in him wanted him to do it for them. This is why when we teach magic, we encourage you to use it for yourself and not so much for other people. The idea is that you need to demonstrate it for yourself, and if you demonstrate it for yourself, you will inspire other people to find the wisdom on their own. A lot of people want to follow a master. A lot of people want a guru. A lot of people want a savior. But a magician wants to be a master, wants to be an adept. We all seek the methods necessary to achieve this mastery. It is through understanding this concept of Shekinah, of spiritual substance, that your mastery is achieved. The Shekinah, the goddess, the spiritual substance, the Holy Spirit, represents an underlying principle of all life. And when we can understand this foundation, we can allow those manifestations to happen for us. Shekinah is based upon the idea of substance. Behind every visible form in the material world, there is substance. The mental blueprint always precedes the physical manifestation. Therefore, manifestation rests on the idea of spiritual substance, Shekinah, the goddess. We see this truth not with our physical eyes, but with our spiritual sight. Everything begins as an astral or mental seed. And this gives us a clear understanding of the difference between the dense outer world, which we call matter, and the luminous substance underlying all things. And once we grasp the difference between matter and substance, or Shekinah, in our minds, we then have practical basis for manipulating the forces of the universe to create. The divine spark or soul rests within us, but it's waiting for us to claim it and to direct it. And once we can open up our inner sight, then we see the Shekinah rather than just the physical form. Because we're so used to looking at the world through our physical eyes, through our physical senses, and those blind us as magicians. It's just like if you are only watching television or watching movies or watching things on a screen and you don't read or you don't listen to stories, that blinds you to your own imagination. Your imagination goes dormant. It atrophies. And the same thing goes with us as we are so used to experiencing the physical world through our senses that we blinded ourselves to seeing through our spiritual sight, our spiritual senses. And so we don't see this Shekinah force at work. We only see the after effects, the manifestation. And then we are trying to manipulate the world to create change without understanding that is unchangeable, except through the inner, through the Shekinah. It's impossible to understand the occult arts until we open up our spiritual vision. And you don't open up your spiritual vision if you don't know it's there. You have to grasp these foundational principles. Otherwise, magic is nothing. It's just a bunch of stuff from old grimoires. There's no life to it. And that's why in angel magic, it's encouraged that you invoke Shekinah before you work magic. The whole idea of that is by your understanding that out of this Shekinah presence, this goddess force, this spiritual substance, comes what you create through your magic. But if you just try to create with magic without understanding the source of your magic, It's just empty gestures. Everything first exists in the mind as an idea. So an occultist first sees their work in their mind, forming the astral matrix before gathering the things together for their spells, before they're gathering the herbs, the candles, the talismans, or whatever it be. The process is a constant execution of an idea. The true reality of any magical work exists in the mind. And when you form a clear idea of an unchangeable, firm, underlying substance, Shekinah, goddess, and your connection to that, you connect with the fabric of the universe itself. When we talk about this spiritual substance, we're not talking about physical matter. Even modern physicists describe a universal field that is not solid matter. They describe matter as passing through this field like water through a sieve. And the scientific conclusion aligns perfectly with what occultists have long argued, that dense matter is an absolute illusion. The world we see around us is not the solid form that we perceive. They used to call it ether. This universal ether exists behind everything. We recognize this universal ether as the first mental expression of the divine idea, Shekinah. And everything we see emanates from that. And when you understand this, you realize this reality of substance is what sustains life, not the physical matter. So when we say Shekinah, we are talking about that which stands under and supports all things. And it has nothing to do with the dense matter of the physical universe. Matter is temporary, fluctuating shadow. It's illusion. And as initiates, we want to align ourselves with the underlying substance that we call Shekinah, or the goddess. So the mind's highest planes hold the ideal of abiding life. So the highest concepts that you are capable of holding in your mind. Matter is full of voids. Matter is full of decay. And if you depend on anything material or make dense matter the basis of your magical workings, your spells won't work. You understand that the talismans or the candles or the poppets or the things that you use are merely tools to help you to direct your mind. But then even outside of magic, people live solely in the material world. They never consider the spiritual substance that underlies the material, and that's why they're hypnotized by it. And we all do that to some degree or another. We're all hypnotized by it. And like we said before, the more you're hypnotized by the world without counteracting that with some sort of invocational practice, magical practice, meditational practice on a regular basis, your ability to work magic is atrophied. And that's why we don't wait to perform magic until we need it. We have a daily practice. We have a daily magical practice of some sort or another, taking time every day to call forth this substance in whatever method you use, so that you can turn your conscious awareness to the underlying reality and pull it away from the illusion for a few minutes every day. When you do that, when you have a regular spiritual practice, a regular magical practice, you're always at the ready to work magic when you need it. But if you wait until you need something to work magic, it's sort of like never practicing the piano and then, oh, I have a performance. I better practice. You're not going to do well in your performance. And the same goes true with our magic. If we aren't doing something every day to align ourselves with the truth behind the illusion, there's no way that we're going to be able to be effective. If you're not working on a regular basis, your ability to see things and experience things outside of the illusion is atrophied. Now, this understanding that matter is illusory has existed for ages. Mystics and philosophers have reached this conclusion centuries ago. The reality of all is that the Shekinah, or substance behind this so-called physical world, is the truth, and the matter is a dream state. And this is why the material world is always passing away. This is why the material world always is subject to time, beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end. This too shall pass, this too shall pass. The Shekinah will never pass. The divine substance underlying the world will never pass. It's eternal. But just like your dreams are going to die every morning when you wake up, the illusion of this world is continually dying. We return our focus to the real basis of life constantly and consume the luminous energy of Shekinah on a regular basis in order for our magic to thrive. The spiritual substance becomes our sustenance. We must labor for the consciousness of this understanding. And it is labor because it's so different from what we're taught. It's so different from what everybody else is experiencing. It's so different from what our physical senses show us and teach us. And we must build the awareness of the spiritual substance underneath this physical world in order to bring it into expression and use it. In terms of magic, the main purpose of human life is to take hold of this substance and shape it. Many people struggle with survival in the physical world. They have trouble holding on to their material resources. But if you practice the laws of magic, you will find it so much easier to manage your physical reality because you're constantly plugging yourself into the substance underlying everything that doesn't go away, that's always available. There's no lack of it. There never can be. So this includes your finances, your home, your environment, your health, everything. Everything is a product of the thought forms that have been impressed upon the spiritual substance. And you'll see that behind all the material world, all your possessions, everything, lies this substance, lies this Shekinah, glittering, luminous. And all of your ideas are what hold it into place. And so many of those ideas are ideas that we have picked up from the demiurge or the group mind, and we don't question those ideas. All of the adepts throughout the ages have questioned this group mind, have questioned these ideas, and come to the understanding that what the world teaches us is not true, is not real. And that's how these mages and these adepts have been able to create such wonders throughout history because they questioned the so-called reality of this world and were able to impress a new thought upon this substance. And you can do it too. Think of your mind as the active agent in all creation. Your consciousness must connect with the inner principles inside of everything in order to create manifestations. When we see practitioners who manifest profound health, greater wealth, happiness, relationships, we understand that it's because they are working within the law, the magical law. If they can do it, so can you. You are the vessel through which the universe manifests itself, so you can do it purposefully instead of becoming hypnotized by the group mind. And that's what the demiurge and the ego want for you, is for you to not access your true power as an adept, not to access your ability, to just stay part of the herd. Regardless of what your needs are, the solution lies in your ability to access this underlying Shekinah presence and impress this presence with your thought form. And when you do that with those four aspects of our witch's pyramid, imagination, faith, will, and secrecy, you get what you want. And when you work within your sphere of influence, it happens very quickly because your faith is backing it up more easily. So let go of the anxieties about this world. Stop worrying about things. Stop worrying about the mundane details of what's going to happen tomorrow. Understand that you have the ultimate authority within yourself to access this Shekinah, and you've always had it. It's just that nobody's shown you. Nobody's taught you that. Nobody's told you that. So remind yourself, I exist in the one luminous Shekinah presence. This great substance and life belong to me now. This outer dense world is not my ultimate reality. All is mind, pure, peaceful, and harmonious mind. And therefore, I have power over the world. So hold these thoughts, anchor them deeply in your consciousness, and understand that you abide in the luminous Shekinah within you at all times. And the more that you experience that, the more you remember that, the more you express that and access that, the easier it is for you to manifest as you will. And you're no longer at the effect of the world, and you don't have to worry about what's going on out there as much, actually at all, because you have it all within you. And this is exactly what Jesus meant when he said this, that the kingdom of heaven is within you. You don't have to look outside of yourself for any of this. It's there with you. Just like Glinda told Dorothy, you've always had the power to go home. So you got to click your heels 3 times. And the way you do that is by practice each and every day. The power is within you. It always has been, it always will be, and now it's yours to access. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I so appreciate you. Until next time, blessed be.